plus 5 points. Shem, you get 5 points going into the competitive round. This is technically your spin now.
Plus 5 points.
Minus 5 points.
Minus 5 points. Number 3 for me is Game of Thrones.
But let's get to it. My third is Friends.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
My third is Friends. Yeah.
I really like
My third one is The Wire.
My second one, top 2 shows of all time, is Succession.
Interesting.
Oh, the best. This is the second best show to touch TV, and anything you saw. I hope you guys have watched it. It's Desperate Housewives.
Faults. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Those first 4 seasons, in terms of, and one of the reasons I adored Game of Thrones is the quality of the dialogue and the quality of the scenes that didn't rely on huge action set pieces. Those first 4 or 5 seasons did have those. I think back to the Battle of Blackwater, Hard Home. What a closing for an episode Hard Home was, with like the Night King and Jon Snow's looking up at him. Amazing, loved that. But some of those scenes with like Littlefinger and Varys talking about
just pure dialogue.
Chaos is a pit. No, chaos isn't, but chaos is a ladder. I think back to Cersei talking to Ned Stark, and she said, "The game, when you play the Game of Thrones, you either live or you die." Her telling Littlefinger that power is power. Tyrion and Tywin's scenes. Some of those small council scenes where they're just sitting around and they're just talking.
Yeah, and it'd be like 20 minutes of the episode. You'd just be in the room with them, and they're just
talking.
talking.
The quality of the acting and the dialogue for me was what set that show apart. And obviously some of the interest behind what Jon Snow's sort of future would be.
We all knew.
But yeah, I have issues with how the show kind of, towards the back end of season 4, you could tell that they kind of steered away from the books, and the book hadn't been written. I think it's The Winds of Winter hadn't been written at the time. And slowly but surely you can see that. I think I hated Arya Stark's part of her arc when she was doing
It disintegrated. They didn't have enough time. It disintegrated. They didn't have enough time.
But I love the scene where she killed.
So that was her payoff, I think.
What a scene.
I think in terms of it, they just gave her, not gave her, I don't know if that's what's supposed to happen in the books, but she, obviously all the things she did in the, with the faceless man, all that stuff, they were supposed to grow into much further.
Oh, you could tell. It was meant to be this like
payoff was her
killing
the
her killing
Night King.
Walder Frey.
Oh yeah, that was
it was a fantastic.
That was a great scene.
Game of Thrones scene. There's some great scenes. I think back to Jaime's conversation with
Brienne.
Lady Olenna.
Okay.
Yeah.
When she confessed that she killed Joffrey.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
There's just something.
That is a good scene.
There
That's a great scene.
There are so many great Game of Thrones scenes, and I think it's a shame that the last 2 seasons, and mainly the last season, wasn't up to par with the first 4 or 5.
I do think that's what got people into, because like I was saying, I wouldn't naturally go to a fantasy show. It's just not really my vibe. But I think the way people were speaking about those first couple of seasons, that's why I was like, oh, okay. It's also annoying though, because the opposite has happened, so my sister hasn't watched it, but all she's seen and all she can remember is the way people were speaking about the last season.
That's how people spoke about. That's how people spoke about Lost.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
that's
exactly.
How people spoke about Lost.
So now it's hard for me to convince her to
watch it.
Because she's like, didn't it fall off? But I'm like, no, come on.
You have to.
Like,
it's worth. I actually think it's worth that painful last season, especially because she probably won't be as invested as we were.
Yeah, because we had to wait, and you don't have the community element. Yeah.
I'll ask a quick question. Name your top 3 characters before we move on.
Game of Thrones characters.
Game of Thrones characters. Go on, alright.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Tywin Lannister.
100%.
Tywin Lannister.
Top 3 contender, easy.
I'll go with Jon Snow. I was rooting for him. He made me want to root for him, so I'll go with Jon Snow. Tywin Lannister, Jon Snow.
Yeah, the hero complex though.
Yeah, but I liked that though. I liked that. I liked watching.
I must save everyone.
I liked watching his him struggle with that, and also the fact that he was he had that because of his upbringing.
A chip on the shoulder.
And he was, but the thing is, he was kind of destined for that in terms of being the son
He
of
had a
Rhaegar?
chip on his shoulder. It's not every time you gotta just save everyone. My favorite characters is Tyrion Lannister, Tywin Lannister, and Oberyn Martell.
Okay.
Those are the 3 best characters that's been on the show. They are so good.
Tywin, Varys, Littlefinger.
Littlefinger was good.
Okay.
I think the way he died was a bit sad, but yeah.
Littlefinger was a nice, like, glue character.
They did him dirty in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy he died.
Yeah. That's the good part, but they did him dirty.
I wish he went out differently, but it was. I was happy he died. But yeah, Tywin. I think Tywin had one of the best stories where it wasn't tainted. Where something like Tyrion's story became. I feel like it got tainted towards.
Stayed too long.
He did. It got a bit wishy-washy at point. So I was a bit like, what do you stand for?
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
Exactly. This is fun.
Yeah, I'm quite excited now for number 1. I'm like, oh, what are we gonna? Right, I'm gonna go first again, and then we'll chat. And I've kind of given it away because Shem was cross-interrogating. My number 1 show of all time, personally, me, Ore here, is Breaking Bad. It's my favorite show ever. And there are a few reasons as to why it is my favorite show. Number 1, I've already said, I love a slow burning show. It's the kind of show that if you meet someone, you tell them to watch it, oftentimes the response will be, I tried to get into it, but I never could. Or I tried to watch the first episode a couple of times, I just couldn't get into it. So that I say, have some patience. Have some patience and just calm down. Not everything is going to be like action straight off the bat.
Bulls, yeah.
Right? Like not every show's like that. I think the acting and the characterization, and by characterization, I mean the character arcs. I think that so I was speaking about this on Gaz's pod the other day, and I was saying that Walter White, for me, he's a villain.
That's the best thing about Game of Thrones. The best thing about Breaking Bad, personally, I feel like, is the consistency of villains. I think Tuco Salamanca is a great villain. I think Gustavo Fring is a great villain, but consistently, Walter White or Heisenberg, he goes from a good guy to a villain. So you've kind of got 2 villains, and then all of a sudden, Jesse goes from like kind of a dickish villain to a good guy. Yeah. They did that so well. And
it's seamless. There's no point where you're watching it and you're like, well,
when did that happen?
In that season, he was a villain, and in that season, he was no.
You understand?
It's just like this. Honestly, I absolutely love that show. I think the filming is also really, really good. Really and it's so.
AMC ain't brought nothing else out since then, isn't it?
It's like been their flagship, but they've just been riding off for ages. I think this filming is so good, like just in the desert, like most of the time. But it's just so good, like you feel like you're there. I'm trying to keep justifying it. I just think it's so good.
Do you have any disappointments with it? Because we always have disappointments with our favourite shows.
Did I have any disappointments with it? I do think, not at the start, because I think people should relax at the start, but I do think around season 3, I'm going to say, it got a bit slow.
The crawling cousin,
that's coming from someone who loves a slow burning. Like there's a difference between slow burning TV shows and slow burning scripts.
Season 3, just to jog my memory, is this when Jesse's kind of hooked on drugs?
Yes. It did get a bit like, guys, where are we going with this? Where are we going? Like, are we moving? It felt a bit stuck.
I think then Brock died.
It felt a bit stuck.
Yeah.
That would be my only
critique.
But I think even there where it was stuck, like the dialogue was still really good, the acting was still really good, and I can't fault any of the filming was still really good. Like visually it looked really good. It was more just like I get the writers like, come on man, move it along. Other than that though, stunning.
I'm not mad.
TV show.
It's not better than.
It's definitely.
It's not better than.
So good.
It's just.
I've also rewatched it. I know people say that's near
tough.
impossible.
That's tough.
I rewatched it in lockdown.
That's tough. It's just
and I had a great time.
It's definitely. I would consider it like part of like the prestige TV kind of category. I definitely have it.
And it's almost why I kind of shy away from saying it's my favorite. It's the ones where when people say like the best TV shows are like The Sopranos, Mad Men, and Breaking Bad, and they always say the same ones, and it's like it's because it got all the awards and stuff. So kind of part of me does want to be like, oh no, I wish it wasn't, but it is, man.
Today on TikTok, scrolling, I saw a scene where Walter White was him and is it Hank?
Hank.
Yeah.
They were I saw one where they were reading, like, you know, when they're just reading it all on the table out of character, they're just reading the table reads. And it was like, this is tense.
I love watching those.
So good.
The scene I saw was Hank talking about who this Heisenberg person is. And you could see like Walter White was getting very agitated due to the fact that it was him, but Hank was like dismissing who.
Oh,
this
not
person.
yeah. Because that's what turned him really. Like it was like he almost wasn't getting the credit
the
for
disrespect.
The disrespect, and this is why I say pride is mad because in so many opportunities he could have just stopped.
100%.
He could, but he loved it. He loved it.
He lived off of it. 100%.
If you go back to the scene where I think where they first went into somewhere and blew up that building in season 1, like the first mishmash they had with violence. I can't remember the villain. It was kind of irrelevant. I think he was trying to help Jesse.
Yeah, I know.
He went and they blew up a building, and like he was frightened. He was, and we were so much sorry for him. This is just a science teacher.
Yeah.
And then going to the last season, you're thinking,
come on, man.
Jesus,
yeah, like you've lost your way.
A psycho.
So yeah, I'm sticking with it. I'm dying by it.
Try.
Number 1 show.
Okay.
Although, if you ask me again in the year, I might change my mind.
But fair play.
I'm going for it.
Cool.
Gaz, we're going to you. Number 1 show.
Oh, I'm excited.
All time, according to Gaz.
According to me, the one and only. So I've discussed this show quite a lot, and I've rewatched it this year. It's The Wire. It's the Prestige TV. It's The Wire. You can, and I know people are going to be like, "Oh, you guys always talk about the same shows when you guys talk about the best." You can't dispute The Wire. You can't dispute.
So you have to sell it now. Remember you said you're going to sell it.
Fine. Got into sales mode.
Fine, man. Listen, firstly, I think that first season is actually very, very good, and I don't think it takes long for me to get into.
It didn't either, but lots of people say it's really slow.
I don't get that. I think it has numerous characters who you care about in that first season. For example, you care about Wallace and his story. Bodie. Stringer is a great character. He's such a flawed character. He's not even. He thinks he's smarter than he is.
Bro, he ain't smart.
He thinks he's smarter than he is.
He was just normal, bro. He was just like, when like everyone around you set 8, but you're just normal.
He was just exactly. He was smarter than everyone else around him. But when he got into the Senator Davis people and he got his pants pulled down like so calmly, like they finessed him and they didn't told him.
They didn't give a fuck.
I even told him.
Yeah, they said, this ain't even you, bro. Like, stop trying to be what you're not.
And I think the difficulty for Stringer was he was trying to balance two worlds of being this corporate businessman whilst at the end of the day, you're still tied to the streets. How you came up is the streets. And I think he didn't deal with either in a way he needed to. He didn't deal with them well. So they both caught up with him in the end. Because he got bumped for his money and he got shot by Brother Muzone and Omar. I think, what else did I want to talk? Season 4 is one of the best seasons of television ever for me. I think it's the best. Education season. I think it's amazing.
Good season.
I think the way it drew me into those characters who were new characters. That's
another season that people don't love.
Really?
No. Every season, I think.
But I love it. I like it. Yeah,
like the whole thing is slow, but I think the whole thing is good.
Man.
I think it's all good, but I mean, like the issue for the show normally, I just hear it's that it's a bit slow to get into.
Yeah.
But like isolating the seasons, I think my least favorite season was the doc season.
So this is the conversation that everyone has. Everyone says they hate the doc season, and I get it because I didn't like it. But I think on my
rewatch, on
my rewatch, I saw it differently, and I saw its importance, and also the way he introduced Prop Joe was like a prominent character for me, and he was one of my favorites actually. I love Prop
so
Joe.
Funny,
great character. God, I probably the scene with String and Prop Joe at
the fountain,
at the funeral, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah,
the funeral. Mm-hmm. And the way they Prop Joe just twanged him and finessed him. Prop Joe's a great character. My only critique is season 5. I thought they wrote some of those characters weirdly in season 5. I thought McNulty's character arc was going so well. He's season.
Which season 5?
He starts faking those deaths.
What's this? What season is? I can't remember this.
McNulty. It's the media journalist season. So
okay.
He starts faking the deaths obviously I get why they did it. He was determined to get Marlo. So I get it. But I just think like the lengths he went to kind of contradicts who he'd become in season 4, where he got his family and he was determined to be a good. At the end of the day, he really did want to be a good police officer.
Right,
but he was also such a flawed character, and I think that's what makes.
It's Baltimore though, and apparently that's what it's about.
I was going to say
apparently that's what they turned him out, because remember the sergeant that created Amsterdam. He was a good
cop.
He was a good cop, but Amsterdam made sense.
Season 3 was great, by the way.
Yeah,
I think season 3 could be the best as well. I thought season 3 was amazing. The show's amazing. The storylines, the
so you think is Marlon your best villain?
Marlo?
I think Marlo. Sorry, is Marlo your best?
No. I wasn't sold by Marlo. I don't know.
Chris is a proper villain, and
he's the heart of that of their career in terms of like he had the heart.
Yeah.
On the streets.
Why don't you think Marlo was believable? You thought you could take him?
No, I just didn't feel the pertinent threat of Marlo, even though And obviously, naturally, it's going to be the people that work for you that carry out the action, right? But I just feel Avon Barksdale had more of a gravitas and a sort of aura where you was like
shouted more though, innit? It's like a different type of villain.
Maybe
like,
just even a better actor as well. Naturally, he was just
fair play. I ain't seen Marlo in it. Yeah. Anything else?
So
really?
I just think obviously Wood Harris was a very experienced and talented
seasoned
vet.
He is a shout.
So I think that might have helped as well. But no, I think the show is just so well written. As we spoke about before, the way they sort of divided the 5 seasons into different topics and sort of themes. But
I really like that.
But the themes
really
interlink though. They're not separate stories. The stories are actually.
I'm not even sure I know of. I can't think of another show off the top of my head that's done
that. No, not I can think of. No.
Yeah, without it being like completely separate stories and completely separate places.
It linked in beautifully, and I think like even the way the politics links into the streets, and the streets links into the education system, and education links into like media. Like it's just so well done. At the end, and as we spoke about before, Baltimore is also a character, and there are so many other characters that we either care about or love to hate or hate to love. But yeah, great show, man. That's my number one. 100%.
That's your number one.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone can that shit.
Okay.
Standing on business.
Standing on business.
My number one, that's all that's left, really. We all know. My number one is Game of Thrones.
Come on.
Nice.
And my number one, why I just don't believe the critique or the fall off from the last season, even though it was bad. I think the show took TV to new heights.
100%.
That
Agreed.
The fall off still just brings it closer to your best show.
Okay.
It just brings it closer to your best show, because everybody says they're not into fantasy. That's everyone's opening line with Game of Thrones. The people that should watch these lot should be in a cupboard somewhere in the bottom of North London playing Dungeons and Dragons.
North London specifically.
And playing Dungeons and Dragons. Do you get what I mean? That's who it's for. Like these people, and they wear capes and that and just run around.
It's definitely not targeted to people with melanin, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not for us at all. There's everything there's literally everything. And there's everything that's wrong in humans, because all the bad things in the Bible that it's in the show. And we're hooked by it. There's everything, and everyone's like, do you feel like there's intestines, let me turn this off. You're there the next episode.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So
is it mad that I got used to? I did. Like,
yeah, you got used to it. The nudity.
Yeah.
When they took away the nudity, everyone was like, "Wait, where did it go?" Then we found out they disagreed to do. I was like, "Okay, fair enough, whatever." But like, it just became so normal. And why Game of Thrones is mad is because it has no target audience. Like, my mom watched it. My mom's like, full on that auntie. She's like, it's too much, but she'll be there. She'll be there because she wants to know what happened. But we all agree like the final season was poor. It's the writing
about Game of Thrones as well. Like we said before, the writing, the characters are so good that it doesn't really matter what the setting is. Like the setting being in whatever century is even meant to be in, and the fantasy elements and stuff. The core elements of it are so good that it kind of doesn't matter that if you're not into old stuff or fantasy or whatever.
I did sign with what's his name? John Bradley. What's his name in real life? Sam Tarly. And then he said, what's interesting about Game of Thrones, the biggest characters of Game of Thrones are like outside of Game of Thrones. Like out of the actors, the biggest characters who've gone on to be the biggest. He said it's interesting because the people who are now the biggest are the people there for one season. So, Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, true.
He is.
Pedro Pascal.
He's everywhere.
Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest people to come out of Game of Thrones.
Facts as well.
Sean Bean, kind of. He was there for one season. Ned Stark. But he was already established.
Yeah,
but it was quite interesting how you can come for one season and you have such a huge, a huge impact as well. And we've never seen any program where the main character can get offed. If the main character gets off, that means it's 15 minutes to the end of the show.
100%.
That's it.
That's what threw me. When they killed Ned Stark, I said, where are we going with this show? What does that mean?
You get what I mean? So then there was a vacuum and everybody stepped up.
There's no main. Cersei's a main. I could argue Littlefinger is a main. You could argue that there's
about 6 or 7 main characters.
Tyrion is a main. You could argue in certain points Tywin is a main. Like Jon Snow sort of takes this elevation and becomes the main.
It became a bit when it got main characters developed by season 5.
Yeah.
It took like 5 seasons to get.
I always think as well though, when the writing got too main character focused, I was kind of like, like let's move around a little bit. I actually quite liked the idea of like once they told me Ned Stark is not the main, killing him. I liked the idea of it moving around all the time. So when it got a bit like Jon Snow focused, I liked Jon Snow. I really liked Jon Snow, but when it got a bit too focused on him, I think that was
one of the main characters.
Daenerys got annoying to me.
Yeah, didn't it? But
I think that was for her. Yeah, I think that was right. But everybody knew she got very, very annoying. You know what's interesting? No, one of the most important characters in the book. No one really cared about him, and it's Bran. No one cared. He's so like.
I was intrigued to see where they took it, and when they took it,
ran
where
out
they
of time.
It just,
and then they just
ran out of time. Like, Bran, Arya, them two, bait ran out of time. Bran and Arya.
I saw an interesting TikTok where they were talking about how the Battle of Bastards wasn't actually a good scene, just because of the way it was put together, where Sansa's disagreement with Jon Snow, and she didn't tell him about bringing the Army of the Vale. Yes, it was Army of the Vale, and like she said, that doesn't make any sense. The person that did the video, she was saying like Sansa not telling Jon and her reasons for not telling Jon don't make sense, because you didn't show for a prolonged period, I guess, the tension between her to show that she didn't trust
Jon. Yeah, they didn't have enough time.
They didn't have enough time.
She grew as well. She grew into it. She got very frustrated. Remember, she was all, "Daddy, I want to marry Joffrey." Joffrey and Ramsay Bolton.
So the best.
Who is a worse villain?
Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay, but it's small margins because they were both horrendous.
I have two questions for you guys. I have two. So my first one is, can you name your favourite Game of Thrones moment? You can go two, because I think that's quite hard to do. If you want to say two,
I think it's definitely got to be trial by combat. The Mount versus Oberyn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
You raped her, you murdered her, and we nearly had it. We nearly had it, but in the 97th minute plus the 97th minute, the Mount grabs him, bursts his head, and the episode ends, and you have to go to bed. It's like,
I'm gonna throw in, and I know it's an obvious one, but Red Wedding was
Jesus Christ.
Yes,
I want to feel what I felt when I watched it for the first time. Like I was actually
the score.
I didn't get. I was like, oh, maybe I got a bad stream, or like
I couldn't. I was actually genuinely in disbelief.
Yeah, the score was amazing.
Bear in mind that my sister doesn't watch it. So I'm the only one at home watching it
Reacting
by myself.
on your own.
I haven't seen. I'm watching it in time because I haven't seen any spoilers. I don't know what's coming at all. Like I kind of feel sorry for people that will watch it now because they know that like, this one episode is meant to be so good. I didn't have any anticipation.
I just thought it'd be a normal wedding. I was like, you know what?
They do things like that. Yeah, they do weddings.
She seems like a good woman. She seems like a good woman.
Bruce Bolton is a piece of shit.
Bruce
Bolton is a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
I think it was the fact that it was also a tiny family when you think about it. Like, who really cares about? Is it the Freys?
Yeah.
Like all the Freys. Like the Freys aren't like a big.
Yeah, they weren't like
house.
big players.
It's a tiny house. And they took out the family, and that family was like in reconstruction already. Because in Ned Stark, and you're thinking, who's gonna lead? Who's gonna lead now?
Especially because Rob Stark was on the. He was.
Yeah, and they were even the way they positioned, but the way they were positioning him, the show was positioning him. I was ready to. Yeah,
he was the new main character.
I was ready to accept him as okay, cool. He's gonna step in. They took away Ned Stark from me. I'm getting Rob Stark, and then I said, "No, what kind of show is this? What kind of show is this? What's next?"
Yeah, for real.
Recap. So my top three. One, oh my god, I've already got one was Breaking Bad, 2 Succession, 3 Game of Thrones. Okay. Guys, do you want to go for your top 3 recap?
First was The Wire, second was Game of Thrones, third was Friends with like a Succession just underneath. I had to add that little disclaimer.
No difference.
Yeah, man.
First was Game of Thrones, 2 was Desperate Housewives, and 3 was The Wire.
Okay. I think that's a solid selection.
Yeah. Some diversity there as well. Yeah, man.
Okay, so we're moving into the last segment of the episode, moving into trivia round. Just a little reminder, Gaz, you're starting this round with -5 points on account of this gorgeous spin the wheel. And Shem, you are starting this round on +5 points. So we'll start with you guys. Okay. What is the main setting of the TV show Snowfall? Where is the main setting?
LA?
Yeah. Name the character known for this iconic quote. I've got the shotgun, you got the briefcase.
Oh, this is the show that I just spoke about, no? Oh.
Name the character.
Oh, shit. I've got the shotgun. Pass. Who is it?
Omar.
Oh,
Which
no!
noble house is known for its words, winter is coming?
Oh, no, man. It's the Starks,
Yeah,
man.
Number 4. Who's the brilliant college dropout with a photographic memory and a talent for law in TV?
Mike Suits.
Yeah. Number 5. What's
Great
the
song.
street name of Walter White's blue meth?
Ooh, pass. I should know that. What is it?
Blue Sky. Number 6. Which TV character wakes up from a coma to find a post-apocalyptic world overrun by zombies?
Shit. Who is it?
Time's done. Rick Grimes.
What show is that? Walking
Walking
Dead. I haven't seen it, you
It's
know.
Walking Dead.
I've never watched it.
Okay. Shem, you ready? What is the full name of Jax Teller's first son in Sons of Anarchy?
Pass.
Abel. In which year does the first season of The Crown begin, covering the early years of Queen Elizabeth's reign?
1956.
47. In which year did Michael Jordan retire from basketball for the first time in The Last Dance?
1994.
3. What's the name of Queen Charlotte's husband in Bridgerton?
Duke of... pass.
King George. What's the profession of Orson, Bree's second husband in Desperate Housewives?
Orson, was he surgeon?
Dentist. What did Kel drop in Keenan's tuna sandwich?
Screw.
Yeah. What's the name of the potion Shrek drinks in Shrek 2? Oh, film one.
Happily ever after?
Yep. How much money does Brian owe Stewie in Family Guy?
Pass.
Okay. What district does Peter represent in Hunger Games?
Peter. District 12.
Yeah. Who's the main antagonist in the Powerpuff Girls?
Mojo Jojo.
Yeah. Who starred as the legendary musician Ray Charles in the film Ray?
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Cold.
Well done.
Jesus Christ. Oh my
Even
God.
reading it, I was
Oh my God.
You smoked the back end.
Oh my God. Pause. Oh my God.
pressure.
Abel, some of the questions there, proper
In which
sneaky.
year does the first season
That
of The
was
Crown
nasty.
I
begin?
can't lie.
Covering the early years.
That
of
was
Queen Elizabeth.
nasty.
Did you know it?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Swear.
No. Gaz, you scored 10.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's from
Woo! And Shem, you scored 25.
Oh yeah, I had 5
Shem.
already. Fair play.
Shem is
Right.
our winner of the trivia segment today. How'd you feel, Shem? How'd you feel?
It's not really justified. I don't like the 5. If we started level, would have been more of a fair score. But hey,
Take your
we
W's.
take it where they come. At the end of the day, Gaz is a worthy opponent as well.
Thank you, bro.
Some of the answers you got there, no way I was getting them. But
I
yeah,
got the Omar one though.
yeah, I didn't know
That's
that.
gonna
I
haunt
didn't
you
know
now.
that.
Yeah, for real.
I didn't know
Great
that.
character.
You both
Awesome.
did better than I would have done.
I thought he was gonna say what was he like? He's in a wheelchair. I just remembered he was in a wheelchair, and I thought like he was a surgeon. I was a
I know,
dentist.
Yeah, that was. You also you were 1 year out from Michael Jordan's retirement.
Yeah.
year as well.
Yeah.
Is that the Last Dance reference?
Oh, so
Last
yeah,
Dance one,
yeah,
You
yeah.
said 94 and it was 93.
Great
Very
series.
close.
Great doc.
Very, very
Oh,
close.
he won in '93 though, and then he retired straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Okay, well, that concludes the first episode of Silver Screen Society. I want to say thank you
Round of
to
applause.
Gaz and Shem for joining me today. And that's it.
Thank you, Aure. Thank you, Aure, for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching an episode of Silver Screen Society. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that. Bye.